a lot of organizations now with embracing this sort of success from everywhere or this remote work, engagement is going to be difficult. So obviously you have to invest in tools, right? So Zoom, Google Hangouts, those kinds of things. In general, the idea is to make discussions as visually collaborative as possible. That means your team needs to make it, you have to make it easy for them to engage. So they should be doing their work because of meetings, not in spite of it. If they're doing their work in spite of the meetings, then meetings will always feel like an overhead. Like a lot of times with Scrum or generally with Agile teams, you will hear them say things like, oh, Scrum has too many meetings. Agile has too many meetings. Now, people are always talking, not doing any work. If you really think about it, Scrum literally has 4 meetings. Your company probably has 10,000 meetings. All right. So if your company has 10,000 meetings, this is an opportunity for you to repurpose those 10,000 conversations into these 4 meetings with the appropriate representation. That's the challenge. And that's an organizational redesign opportunity. So your goal should be to make sure first you have set good, robust, comprehensive working agreements with your teams. Make sure there is a clear delineation of when are we going to have core collaboration hours and core hours where we're going to be heads down working by ourselves. Right? That's number one. So that way, when new people join in, they know, okay, I shouldn't be disturbing Cheryl at this time. I shouldn't be disturbing Omkar at this time, or our planning is always going to be at this time. So everybody shows up with those expectations. Second, make sure there are clear entry and exit criteria for every meetings. Like have clear definition of ready and definition of done. When you show up to planning, everybody needs to know what the heck we're doing for the next 90 minutes here. Right? When you show up to a retrospective, have clear agenda that you've collected before you get into the retrospective, or have a quick and easy way to generate an agenda democratically while you're in that session. There are a whole bunch of tools out there that can help you do these things. All right. Some freely available resources to make your discussions more visually collaborative and to drive engagement better in teams. So first, tastycupcakes.org. Another one I'd say is ideaboards.com, funretrospectives.com. So check out these websites. They've got a bunch of ready-to-use templates of how you can make your discussions more visually collaborative. Right. And that's how you can drive engagement. So have clear entry and exit criteria, make sure there are working agreements, and then follow them. Be extremely disciplined. If you're disciplined, then you'll be free over a period of time. There isn't one way of becoming an agile coach. People come from different backgrounds. I'll give you my example. I come from a software development or an engineering background. I used to be a programmer, and then I eventually became an analyst, and I went towards being a project manager, then became a scrum master, eventually got into coaching. To be a good agile coach, at least in my opinion, I would say is you need to have a couple of things. One, a comprehensive understanding at a basic level of how project development lifecycle works, which means how do you start a project, what happens during a project, who is involved in those situations, who are the key stakeholders, what kind of conversations need to be driven at certain points in time, how do you get towards the close of the project, what kind of conversation need to be driven there, who are the key players involved there. So you need to have a good comprehensive understanding of how those things work. Right? A really good reference in general for project management, even though a lot of project management has changed over the years, would be the PMP certification. I like to think of it as the best certification that I have that I've never used in my life. I only say that and I'm half joking when I say that is because it's a very comprehensive view, but a lot of it is segmented and very sequential, and most industries don't work that way. So you will not use a lot of it, but you will get a lot of benefit by just going through that process. So I would recommend getting some sort of a foundational education around project development lifecycle. That's number one. Number two is you have to understand how human behavior at scale works, right? Like something as simple as a tool can start to drive behavior in a group. Like whether you use tools like Jira, version 1, Rally, Team Foundation Server, one of those project management repositories, right? Where you store data, radiate progress and stuff, that starts to drive behavior over a period of time. So you have to understand human behavior at scale. An easy way to do that, I'd say, is just to work in different organizations as much as possible. I did a lot of consulting in my career, and that helped me understand how different companies work, how different teams work, how different cultures work. So I would say get as much experience as you can in a diverse set of ecosystems. Even if it's within the same company, try to hop around and try to get exposed to different platforms, different programming languages if you're software, different systems in general, I'd say, different ecosystems of people. The more diverse your skill set is in terms of experience, the easier it'll be for you to understand what drives people's behavior. And that'll help you with management also over a period of time. That's number two. And number three, I'd say, is some foundational education around Agile will certainly help. There's no limit to how many certifications you can get in this day and age. I mean, there are 26 letters in the English language. You make combinations, they'll go on forever. right? So I would say look at what kind of problems you like to solve or what lines of businesses you're in, and then see which is the most predominantly used approach out there. Get some formal education there, whether it's Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming, or it's project management. Get some of that stuff. That will help you, enrich your own operational vocabulary. So it helps you just strengthen the economy of words that you use as you start to have more discussions with people. It helps you position your resume a little better in the industry in general. You can speak the language a little better. And then more than that, you also start to gauge how organizations work. You can gauge their maturity by asking certain questions. So I'd say those couple of things will help. Other than that, my personal take would be lower your expectation. Most people out there will resist this stuff. That's just human nature. Everybody loves change. Nobody wants to change, right? So people will always resist this initially. The best thing that can happen is for a human being is homeostasis, status quo. But that's also the worst thing that can happen there, right? So it's very difficult. So lower your expectations. Second, have a sense of humor about it. You don't have to be funny, but you have to be able to see the funny side of these things, right? And third, just keep at it. Just keep going. You're not going to be able to work in an organization that is always doing well with this stuff. You will end up in situations where the Scrum implementation will be crappy, the Kanban implementation will be crappy, but those are the places where you learn the most. I've been in a lot of places where they sucked at all this stuff, but I learned the most there. So don't be looking for the best possible opportunity out there. Look for an opportunity that will challenge you over a period of time. Those are some things I would recommend. In general, from a certification standpoint, look at Scrum Alliance. It has a whole bunch of coaching level certifications. Look at IC Agile, the letter I, the letter C, Agile. They have a whole bunch of certifications too. There's no limit to how many certifications you can get. Just be intentional about what you want to get.